What's going on, everyone? Welcome back. Week 100 and... Why am I wearing headphones? I'm not on a live call yet. We don't need that. I'll put those on when we call Nabil. Tonight, with live stream takeover number... I didn't even look. Like 118 or something like that. It's a big number. But Matt had a work engagement, not able to join, so I guess I have to come up with the question. Tonight we are talking to Nabil. If you guys aren't familiar with Nabil, he's done really well in the scale comp scene as of late, but I've known him since the regular comp crawling days before, so we're going to talk about both of those because he's helping with crawling nationals this year. I have to figure out how to refer to both of those separately and clearly for those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, but we're going to talk to him about that. So tonight's question, check in where you're watching from, and if you would like to comp, if you don't want to comp, or if you're like comp curious. So I'm really looking forward to talking with Nabil on here. I've known Nabil for, I don't know, 12 years or maybe more. Looking forward to having him on. So gonna do just a little bit of intro stuff before we bring him in here, just kind of our normal stuff. If you guys didn't check out the video yet, we did get the Traxxas Ultimate RC hauler in, and Matt's did not arrive in time, unfortunately. Mine only showed up on Monday. So Monday, and then I had scale news to do, so it was a rush to try and get everything done, but got it knocked out last night. I called in Moose Jaw for some help with some filming. I had him run a car into a curb for me. If you didn't watch the video, go check it out. It's enormous. It's bigger than it seems in person, and yeah, where's the poor Supra? The Supra is in the garage because the Supra and the Corvette are in the garage because they're both very dirty. We had a lot of fun racing those two Vortex. They're just brushed RTRs, but even so, when you've got two cars that are pretty equally matched, racing them in which seemed like a wide open parking lot, even though, Moose Jaw still found an opportunity to whack a curb, but either way. Yeah, so an unexpected release, definitely good times. I did like that Moose Jaw immediately blamed Matt for hitting a curb. That was pretty good. Check out some of these. Bavaria. Any familiar faces over here? I'd like to get a little comp going, but many guys interested in doing it. That's it seems like the competition side, it seems like it kind of always grows in one area or another. Now, what we've been talking about most recently is like scale comp type trucks, but we also, tonight we're going to be talking about the non-scale oriented ones, which that side's definitely interesting. I used to be really heavy into it. I used to travel all over the US competing. We used to have a national comp like almost once a month in one state or another. So we were always just driving everywhere. And Nicole used to travel with me all over. Nicole's known Nabil for a decade or more already. And it's been wild. So looking forward to having him on. Like I said, we're going to bring him on sooner than later. I'll do a super quick mail call. This kind of counts as mail call. So that's first one. But then also I got a package from Frank out of the Bay Area, and he sent me a couple of, starting with a couple of super nice shirts. One long sleeve, one short sleeve, but Sheet Metal Workers Union, Local 104 out of the Bay Area. But just nice, heavy shirts. Again, one short sleeve, one long sleeve. But along with that, he sent me this, which is a Roper Whitney metal punch. So rather than drilling holes in sheet metal, you basically are able to just punch them out. It comes with a bunch of different dies for a bunch of different sizes, and I'm super pumped. So couldn't be happier. Thank you so much to Frank on that one. Also sent me some pretty awesome stickers that represent the local 104 over there. So again, much appreciated. And I'm convinced Josh hasn't actually bought a shirt in quite a while. I did do a big purge of t-shirts here recently. I took a garbage bag full to the girls at work. So they all, got a bunch of workout shirts or whatever works for them. But okay, I'm missing a ton of comments. Gunner, thank you, sir. Tonight's code, diesel prices suck. Gunner, FJB. No political anything. I'm going to pin this one, but no political anything in here. Leave that out of it. God damn it. It's a rule. That's the rule. You should know that. Anyway, the rest of my mail call for this week was mini trike related. So I forgot to actually bring it here because the boxes are quite large, and this thing came in, well, the box is back there in the corner, but the box for this thing, free jerky, boys. Thank you, Phoenix. Fun jerky boy. Okay, I'll at least he's wearing a hat. Fresh jerky bites. Good, thank you. But this thing came in a box that looked like a pair of golf clubs showed up. It was, when I got the phone call, they're like, hey, you got a box here at the office that's enormous. I was like, all right, well, this one was a bit of a shocker. You don't know what's coming. They send these boxes and you just have to, you open it up and you go, oh man, like what happened there? So, also, I haven't done a live stream since, but we had Flip That Truck that got started again. Finally, a lot of you guys who join these live streams have seen most of those cars, but that was the that. Other than that, people who don't watch those, which I get, a lot of people don't. It's just it was kind of fun, and I'm ready to start processing through some cars that I have been accumulating too many of. And I've actually had some really good emails from people with other trades and trucks that they want to sell. So I think that we're actually going to be able to process through some of those flipped trucks pretty quickly. I'm going to try and keep that going. I'm going to try and post videos for Flip That Truck every Monday, because being able to just do something where I'm working on it or highlighting should be much easier. But chat's flying. I'm having a hard time keeping up. No Matt tonight. No, again, Matt had a work engagement that he had to attend. There's a chance that he gets out at a reasonable time and may be able to join. And in that case, he will be on. So yeah, that's ordered my Phoenix kit from Vanquish. Oh yeah, the Phoenix now at the new price, $399. So that's or you can still get the $499 deal and your choice of aluminum wheels. So still get a deal either way. Totally up to you. When's VP going to make the Baja Ray axle again? It's a possibility. We'll see. Yes, maybe. No definites. Must have been a sale at the retro flannel store. Yeah, he's lined up for it. Just waiting outside. Hopefully it doesn't get too chilly. He's going to try and buy extra buttons for the top to go a little higher yet. All work, no play makes Matt a dull boy. Sometimes I wonder, I'm like, well, I guess he only leaves the house once every other month or so. So I guess we have to give him this one, even though it fell on the one day of the week that he has an engagement. West Desert Wheeler also checking in. Logan, I was behind on Instagram messages that he goes, you need a co-host for tonight? I was like, well, I'm a little late on getting that planned out, but next time Matt's unavailable, maybe I'll take you out on that, even though it would have been a good one with Nabil. But I have so many questions for Nabil to just, obviously I've known Nabil for a long time, and we've had lots of conversations, but never in this formal of a format where I've been able to pin him down and be like, all right, now this. Yeah, and I did see that for those of you who are on the social media worlds and possibly interested in Arma, looks like they have a new release tomorrow. So I'm guessing something on the Infraction-esque lineup. I have no basis for that. I'm just projecting what I like. Josh is always late on Instagram answers. I might share that reel I should. Yeah, that's very true. I answer a small number of the Instagram questions that pop up. A lot of them are like product related, and I'm like, I never answer if there's a specific product release or not. So, bought 2 Ridge wallets this week. Awesome. Hopefully you enjoy them as much as I do. 4S Limitless would be nice. Oh, like a Limitless that's actually not just a roller. That would be cool. I like that. Did you buy the Ripper for sale for only $8.5K? I did not. Not a bad price for it. For what some of them were going through, and that one was new. So brand new for $8,500. Not a bad price for a Ripper. And just, Infraction buggy. I would be all over a kind of rallied out style like I would love it. Matt and I have talked about that. Anyway, I'm not going to try and just go on and on for too long. I'm going to try and bring Nabil on as soon as possible because try and maximize. Oh, God, spam already. Thank you, DK, for taking care of that. I'm going to call Nabil and see if we can get this rolling. And let's see. Nabil, how's it going? Let me get this switched over. And
how's it going, man?
Good.
I'm glad this all worked out, even with my lack of getting a hold of you yesterday for a test.
Yeah. It's telling me that you're recording or broadcasting this call. Should I be concerned?
It's for blackmail reasons only.
Okay.
So.
All right. Got it.
Let's see. Josh, sound weird. Well, that's fun. Your mic. Oh, my mic sounds bad. Okay.
There. My mic should be fixed now.
Yeah, it sounds better for me too.
So, my bad. Your audio changed. So, there we go. Hopefully it doesn't keep doing that. But anyway, so Nabil, I guess we should do a bit of an introduction for people who aren't familiar with you. Just tell us a little bit about your RC history. You can go all the way back, or you can be what pertains to this.
Okay. Well, so I started, I think my first crawler I got in like 2008. Whenever like the AX10 came out, maybe like 6 months after that.
Yep. Yeah, it came out around October 2008.
Yeah.
So October 2007. So yeah, early 2008.
Yeah, that sounds about right. And then from there, it kind of sucked stock, so I started messing with it, made it better. Then found people competing and stuff, and decided to go try that out. I think I went to my first nationals in what was that? Moab 2008, so like September 2008.
Yeah.
I finished 40th, somewhere around there.
I wonder if I beat you.
That's
that was it'd be my only chance ever. So I'm gonna have to go back and find those results because like my only chance of ever saying that. But
it's possible.
That was my first nationals too.
Yeah.
Moab was pretty epic, and crawler days back then were a whole different world.
Yeah, it was ridiculous. Like I don't know. Like the scale stuff now, it's kind of reminds me a lot of like that back then.
I totally agree. It's kind of that. There's just so. I mean, our crawlers back then, even at nationals, were a little bit more scale than they are now. You know, we had bodies on stuff, and
Yeah, definitely. I saw a picture like a month and a half, 2 months ago from the 2007 Nationals, and the trucks looked more scale there than they did at Scale Nationals this year.
yeah, I mean, we were all running like the HPI Jeeps and Broncos, and
Exactly.
so yeah. Now, what do you do for a living?
I'm an engineer.
What kind of engineer?
I went to school for mechanical engineering. I'm doing computer stuff now. So, I work for it's a computer company. So I don't want to get too much into it.
Understandable.
Yeah.
You've always been a bit on the mysterious side of a lot of your internet presence, Nabil.
I just I keep to myself. And that's it.
For
As much as I
I mean, RC Crawler back in the day was the forum where we all talked. You were what, E-Hills 4x4?
Yeah, and then I switched it to just Nabil.
Just Nabil,
after.
right? Yeah, but forever you were E-Hills 4x4. I remember a lot of people by their original screen names still, even those.
Yeah,
you know.
I copied Brandon.
Yeah, exactly. You know, I work with Brandon now every day, but for the longest time he was in love with accelerating. Remember?
Yeah. When he switched, I switched.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Like, I didn't know we could change.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I realized.
Like, I just have to ask one of these guys? Fine.
Yeah.
Now you're in California now. You're not that far from me. Have you always been out here or in this area?
I'm in San Diego.
You're in San Diego. Okay.
Yeah.
So,
I was near you up until a couple years ago.
okay, that's what it was then. Gotcha.
Yeah.
So, and you've always been out here on the West Coast?
Yeah. Well, besides like 2 years I spent in Michigan.
Random.
Yeah. Like right after I went for school. I didn't like it. I came back.
Yeah, I could see that. Michigan, you know, nice state. There's some great people there, but
Yeah. They're actually really nice. Like my only team driver is Farmer.
yeah, I think I saw Courtney in here.
Yeah, I always joke that he's my only team driver. He's from Michigan.
Now, let's see. You basically competed in the national stuff kind of with us. Did you ever stop on the comp crawling side?
I took 5 years off, 5.5 years off. So my last like big comp I ever did was at Nationals in 2013, the one that was in Arizona.
Okay, yeah. At what lake was that? Logandale? No, not Logandale.
Prescott.
In Prescott, right?
Yeah,
So that was your last one, okay? Because
that was the last one, and then I took off from then till like late 2018. Didn't touch an RC car. Didn't do anything.
oh, no kidding, you took off RC completely.
Yeah.
Gotcha. And then so 2018ish. I remember. Did you come up here or did I see you at the one in Reno? Was that
No.
2018? That might have been the year before.
Yeah, no, I wasn't there.
So,
First nationals back for me was like first like comp crawler nationals was 2019. First one back.
okay. Where was 2019 at?
That was Wendover in Utah.
Gotcha. So,
Yeah.
and then, so you kind of had that, but when was your start into the scale side of it more?
Like my first actual scale comp ever that like counted points or anything was Scale Nats 2019.
No kidding.
Yeah, I just went. I figured I didn't know where to start, so I just figured I'd build the truck as good as I could, go show up, and then figure it out.
How did you do?
I think like 11th in class 1, 12th in class 2 or something. I didn't run class 3.
Okay. So then, let's see, that was, you said 2019?
Yeah.
2020 obviously didn't happen, but 2021 was down in Vegas,
Yeah.
and you did quite well there.
Yeah.
Did you?
Not as good as I but
Did you win 2 of the 3 classes?
I won one. I was first, second.
First, second. Okay, I remember doing quite well, and your class 3 was so impressive.
Yeah.
Let's see, you won. Did you win class 3?
No, I won class 1.
Okay.
I lost class 2 by like, I don't know, it was under 15 points, and I lost class 3 by like 3 points.
Yeah, I remember watching you throughout the finals. I did some videos on all of them, but along with obviously your driving has always been pretty amazing, but your trucks in the scale world also look really good. A lot.
Yeah, that's.
I mean,
Good.
That's it's pretty impressive, because a lot of times the trucks that make it into the finals are not the ones that are focused as much on a good overall style.
Yeah. So it's kind of intentional. So like, I made myself a deal when I like kind of started to scale things, right? I was like, especially after doing well in 21, I was fully planning on building new trucks after Vegas, but I said like, okay, I just missed it with trucks that are legitimate actual scale trucks.
Yeah.
So I told myself I'm not going to switch trucks until I could actually win with my class 2 and my class 3, the ones I missed. So,
which is, already going to second, like that could just be the tiniest little decision during the day. The truck's obviously already at the.
Yeah, I've actually learned something about myself that was kind of funny at that event.
What was that?
Right? That was like the first event that I've been to in a long time that like forced a lunch break.
Oh.
Right. So I don't know if you remember, but how they would like stop for lunch and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And every course I ran immediately after lunch, I hit 3 gates.
Oh, no kidding.
All 3 days, yeah.
So you decided that you just don't eat on comp day, or what?
Yeah, whole day.
Huh. Maybe that's why I hit so many gates. I'm always be snacking.
Yeah, like that, like food sleepy. You know what I mean? I just went into everything.
You know what? We've discovered it. Now we know your secret. All of us are going to be fasting for a week before comps. But
that's bad on like comps, like like Skill Nationals in Alabama when there's a finals course, because then it gets to the point where it like becomes almost superstition. You know what I mean? And then even when I'm done with the day, I don't want to eat till I know if I made it or not. You know what I mean? I have to run the finals course and all that stuff. So
that's wild.
Yeah, it just becomes like I don't know. It's like probably more of a mental block than anything.
Well, now that you've discovered it, you're like, oh, it's just the way.
Exactly. I found what works, so I don't want to change it.
So when we were down in Alabama this year, I don't know how many national level comps I've been to where you've been there as well. It's a ton. But this year was the first time that I like walked up on course to like start to get ready, and you were just kind of like sitting on a rock, and I said hello, like said what's up or whatever. And you're like, I'm just staring at this gate. It was a gate that everyone was having a hard time with. And you're just like, I'm just going to stare at it for a while. You didn't have your truck with you. No one was running the course. You were just staring at an obstacle for a while. Like, how often do you do that?
Well, it's always kind of, when you walk up to a course, you can kind of figure out what the trouble issues are.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's once you've done it for enough, you just look at it, but you don't even have to be up close, and then if there's something that I can't like figure out, I will just sit there and just look at it and then kind of envision different like approaches and then what I think the truck will do each way. And kind of, it's if I come from the left and like this tire drops into here, this tire will be here, and then just stuff like that. And then I kind of pick and choose a bunch of different options. And then what ends up happening is when I get to the gate on the course, now I kind of have like a bunch of different scenarios that I ran through my mind. So no matter how the course kind of throws me into it, I have kind of an idea of what I want to do. And then it just kind of down to being a little lucky and a little, I don't know, quick to react, I guess, and that's about it.
Yeah, and once you're driving on a course, you have an idea all of a sudden like how the rock feels or is great. We don't get to pre-run courses if anyone is wondering. You don't have your truck there, and we don't really drive on rocks around the course either beforehand or anything like that. So you get an idea of the traction a little bit as you're going on a course, and even if it's a temperature or time of day or whatever, it changes. So it's one thing that people who are experienced with comping do that other people might not, is like when a course builder sets up gates, you kind of have to think around how a course builder was, there might be a completely different approach that the course builder left open either intentionally or without thinking. And it takes someone who has some experience to understand that. And I think that I've watched you do things that I would have never imagined. Like, oh, that's just a completely different approach. And
yeah, well, it's kind of like what I was saying is like what I like stare at it. It's because a lot of times I don't know where I'm going to be coming from. So a lot of I think my driving is really I adapt to kind of just what gets thrown at me.
yeah,
Does that make sense?
yeah, no,
So it's like, if I get like a weird bounce one way or the other, so I don't actually ever like really plan out like my run. I just kind of look at the gates and what the trouble areas are, and then just kind of go. Well, like I always have multiple scenarios kind of in my head that I've gone through where when I get there, I kind of have a little idea of what I want to do. So I'm not just like completely blind, but it's not as planned as you would think a lot of times.
it's definitely a little bit hard. I mean, even if I think of like I'm like, I got a smart line, I've got an idea. It's usually pretty, even if it's not a good idea, I've already committed to it. And I'll find myself just going like, I planned on this. I have no choice but to go that way now. So
yeah, so that's kind of why I kind of adapted the style that I did, is because of situations like that. You get stuck and you just don't know what to do anymore.
Oh yeah, that definitely separates the higher drivers from the areas where I usually play around at. But it's fun to watch you drive for sure. But I guess just speaking of that, this year, just for like your class 1, 2, and 3, you don't have to get crazy into depth, but what can you kind of outline what your trucks were like? Or how they were set up. Sorry, parts or favorite, what you like or aspects.
Yeah. I can go get them.
Sure. Let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to thank a couple people here. Pete Berg, $5, much appreciated. What did he say? He said, cesspool sends its regards. I don't know what that means, but Blind Guy RC also, the new TRX6 is cool. Excuse me, guys. I think I need one. Love the flip type truck series. Does the twin shift servos need VP horns only, or will any do? You can use just about any, somewhere around an inch long. Also, Williams Lake Scale Off-Road. Evening Josh, is $399 price for the Phoenix a sale? No, that's the new price. That is the current new price. And I think that was all of them that I missed while scrolling through. So I'll try and catch them as I can, but Tom Havel, Sourdough Jack, as also known on RC Crawler. Nabil, do you prefer to run a course after watching others or go in blind? Oh, that's a good question.
Oh, yeah, I'm back.
Tom Havel, Sourdough Jack, if you remember. He asked, do you prefer to run a course after watching others, or just you go in blind or run your own course and you think, regardless of whatever others said?
I generally don't watch people at all.
Really?
Yeah, like I'll watch like kind of like that gate you were talking about.
Yeah.
Right? When I was just staring at it.
Uh-huh.
I might watch like one truck or two trucks, but it has to be someone that I know kind of what they're capable of, not just some random person.
Yeah, I've never seen you around one of my courses.
Yeah, so it has to be like something where like I know the truck, or kind of I have an idea of what I expect the truck to do, right?
Right.
And then I'll kind of just watch what their truck does, and it gives me an idea of what my truck would do. And that's about it.
Right. I can understand that.
I won't go follow someone through a course. I won't, like, I don't sit there and just like hover over, you know, like some people you see follow 5 or 6 drivers in a row.
Yeah.
As they run. I'm not like that.
Yeah.
I just kind of figure it out and go.
Yeah. That's, you know, having that, just that confidence in running your own race, or however you want to say it.
Yeah. It's just kind of, when I watch people, I tend to get sucked into how they did something.
Yeah.
And how they do something might not necessarily line up to how I drive or how I see something, you know, and then you end up kind of in between the line that you wanted and the line they did, and like nothing works out right. So
yeah, I mean, I could see that I definitely fall into that trap. I know I do. Even if my truck is so completely different than someone else's, I'm like, I can see how that worked. And it can be vastly different trucks in the scale world.
It doesn't even have to be different trucks. Like, so I'll go, like, my dad's just kind of learning and just getting into the hobby. And that's kind of part of the reason why I started again, is so I can spend more time with my dad. Right. And so all his trucks are basically identical to mine. They're 99.5% clones.
Yeah.
You know, like a color difference or something like that. They're the same truck. And what's funny is he's left-handed, I'm right-handed, right? So we can look at the same climb, and he likes to approach it from one way, and I like to approach it from the other way. And almost never will it actually end up being where one of us can do it how the other person did it.
Really? Just
because of how you see the line and how you kind of understand the truck and see the line. It ends up being that it makes sense for you to drive it this way because this is where you feel comfortable, and then it makes sense for the other person to drive it that way. And you might be in the same like general vicinity, but it's 2 different lines.
right.
So.
And is it yeah, I mean, yeah, it can be I can see that, of course. You know, just the difference in, you know, how one throttle, you know, either throttle style or you know, and how you drive with momentum versus not. You know, anything can be different from one person to the next. Even if you just hand someone your same truck and try and have them do the same thing, can be completely different. So that makes total sense.
Yeah.
But you grabbed your trucks. So which one you got handy first?
Class 1.
Oh, hold on a second. So, you froze up for just a second. Perfect timing, of course. Oh, it's back. There you go.
Okay. You got me?
Yep.
So you can start in the class 1. There it is.
Your background blur's kind of playing with us, but
yeah, let me see if I can. I don't know how to fix that. Hold on. I'm like a person.
That might be a Skype setting.
Yeah. Is it there?
Let's see.
I got it.
Okay. There we go.
Okay.
Perfect.
One.
Yes.
All right. So this truck is a bit weird. It's 10.3 front portal, a VP1.
Oh, that's okay. Yep.
Right.
Yep.
It's a VP 10.2 rear portal.
Okay.
Obviously it's the Toyota hard body.
Right. The go-to.
It's got a driver. It's got a drop bed.
It's got a nice weathered paint job with good graphics. I always like your paint jobs. They're always nicely done.
The paint job itself, that's all memo.
Yeah.
I can't take for that. I just give them a vague idea or like a random screenshot, and then I tell him this is what I want, and he does it. So
I think you take care of the outside finish a little bit better than I do. You know, not throwing it off the ledge as much.
Here it is underneath. It's a crawl space Contender.
Oh,
4.5.
Now, what's the difference between the Contender and the Game Changer?
The Contender's the class 1 chest.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
So it's metal, flat skidded, and that's about it.
So it's a front motor mount setup.
Yeah, front motor mount.
Holmes Polar 400 or Crawlmaster
Yeah,
Magnum.
400.
Okay.
Got a SHV 800 for the servo, shift winch, BR Mini, and a BEC. That's it. It's
pretty straightforward,
simple.
right?
Yeah.
But just super clean. What's
Yeah.
and you're running Hyraxes and it looks like some shift wheels.
Yep. Exactly.
So, yeah, super clean. The shocks, are those short? Like a draft
They're
deck?
both Avtex, but I don't know. I have a couple complaints with the truck still, so that's still to be seen if they're going to stay or not.
Understood. And always a bit of some change, but nothing wild. I mean, pretty just super clean. Not off the shelf almost. Not nothing's totally off the shelf. I understand, but
yeah, that's everything attainable.
Yeah,
it's nothing, some stuff, nothing like that. So
yeah, that's it's cool to see that.
So there's that truck. There's my class 2.
Clawed body on that one.
Narrowed.
Okay.
So there's like 3/4 of an inch taken out of the width.
Ah, yeah, you can tell by the sunroof area.
Yeah. So there's it's narrowed down the middle. It's pinched in the front. Again, Hyraxes, crawler elevations foams.
Some OMFs.
Yeah, big ones. Let's see. You guys never made that style.
In the 1.9, you're right. Only in 2.2. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. So but that's what I liked for the truck. So that's what went on it.
So now, what the metal work? You had a custom front bumper on both of these trucks so far.
Yeah.
Are you doing your own metal work, or are you having it done?
I do it all myself.
Nice.
Yeah. Just a little map gas torch and silver solder and a brick.
I get it. That's the okay. So what's this setup here?
So this one's the 4.2 game changer.
Okay.
11-turn Magnum stubby, SHV 800, a little Hobby King servo turned into a winch, and then dual BR minis.
One's controlling the winch, one's controlling. Yeah. Gotcha. That makes sense. Now, I think you probably winch less than some of us. I know you winch less than some of us. Mainly me.
I try not.
What's your feeling on the winch coming from the competitive crawling side like we did?
It's too cheap of a penalty in Sorka.
I agree. I fully agree. It's one of those things, like, I do wish that it was, maybe 5 points versus 2.
Yeah, so I don't mind it, right? As a winch, it's a skill, and I'll give them that.
Can be.
To think. But I don't know. My ideal, I brought it up to a couple people, was I wanted, because most of the time it's only 5-point bonuses, so that's why they did a 3-point winch. You know what I mean? So you kind of still get something. But I said, why don't you make the bonuses 10, mandatory 10? It's always going to be a 10-point bonus, and then go to a 7-point winch penalty.
Okay.
Yeah, that was my kind of ideal. And then my compromise was 5-5. Still 5 points for the bonus, and then 5 points for the winch.
Yeah, totally. I could definitely see that. And then, of course, the beyond just winching and people's feelings on that, the winch stick is probably the even more.
Yeah, I like winch sticks.
I kind of do too. I'm not like I
make it less real.
I thought they were silly at first, but now I like them. Yeah,
I think with the winch stick you're able to do more, so it it opens up what you can do with the winch. So, you're not just using it for like the same simple, I can't make it up this, so I'm going to use the winch. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it kind of brings a little bit more of that into play. I get like the people that say, "Oh, it's not scale. Like you're not going to take a giant tree and place it where you want with a real truck." But
Yeah.
my truck's not scale really either.
Yeah, I mean, if we were competing on strictly scale obstacles, then it would be a thing. But we're taking our trucks up these nearly the same height as the truck standing on its end, and it's crawling up. It's not everything scales down properly.
Exactly. There's climbs that would be the equivalent of a 70-foot vertical cliff or near vertical cliff.
Right. And we just kind of make our way up them. I agree. It's so I see what people are saying, but at the same time, like personally, I was like, I don't really mind that.
Mm. Yeah, it's like I don't mind it. Especially I think for us, like Southern California, right? We don't really have a lot of rock where you could use like a anchor point.
Yeah, even here in the Northern California area, there's a lot of areas where we have very monolithic, granite slab stuff where it would be very difficult. And I mean, I get that that's if you were full size crawling on that, you could run into similar, but it's at the same time, it's one of those things like it does make it a little bit easier. I get, but I don't mind that either, but not to harp on that part of it.
Yeah, it's. I think at the end of the day, I think in my head too, is a winch stick kind of makes it more fair at the end of the day. If that makes sense.
I see what you mean.
Fair is probably not the right word that I'm looking for, but we've all dealt with situations where like there's a climb that's coming off like loose dirt or something, right? And then someone spins their tire, and then it becomes exponentially harder for everyone past them, right?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, depending on the area of the country, the course degradation is a thing.
Yeah, the same can be said for like if you have like a little hook point that everyone's putting their their land anchor to. Once that knocks out, everyone that runs after is kind of drawn the short end of the stick, for lack of a better word.
Yeah. That's absolutely we've run into that even where like Moab, at 2008 especially. Like I remember there was one course when we were down in a bowl and like a significant part of the course like broke off or completely wore out.
Yep.
I just
it seems once every couple years at a big event something like that happens.
Yeah, and then it's a thing like, okay, well we move a rock back, and then it's different for this entire half versus this entire half, and someone always did really well in the first part and they're trying to protect their position, and yeah, that's the thing. You have your class 3 still?
Yeah. Here it is. So class 3.
So now the only thing you changed in class 3 from 21 to 22 was you had a power wagon body on it in 21. Right.
Yeah. So it was a power wagon. Now I went axle mounted front servo.
Okay.
And I went with deluxe knuckles. That's about it. And the body.
That was about the only changes you made.
Yeah.
And now those are a 1.9 high racks cut and shut to go on a 2.2, right? So they're about 5 1/4 inches tall.
Yeah, like 5 1/4.
And is Scott doing those? Is that? Or
yeah, I made these.
You made those, okay.
If people need them, go talk to Scott. Don't bother me.
Scott Manis is who we're talking about at SoCal. But yeah, so okay, you did those, which is a cool thing. I remember seeing those in 21. I made myself a set here as well, just because it's a cool setup. I like it.
Yeah, I think these were one of the first sets. Like I remember these came because like me and Scott were actually talking a bunch about kind of from just what I felt would be like an optimal C3.
Yeah.
because there's a lot of people that just run rear steer C2 trucks.
Yes.
Yeah, and then kind of what we came up with was like a 10-inch wide, 13.25-inch wheelbase truck with like a 5.25 tire.
So yeah, it was really fun to watch that truck, specifically in 21 when I hadn't seen you run that truck before, because the little bit of extra width, that little bit of extra tire, but then the insane steering you had on it. I mean, that truck just turns around on itself.
Yeah.
So, and you have the same steering front and rear, right?
Yeah, it's limited in that picture too. It's got steering stops on it.
So
it's not much, but it's just enough for like what the truck is.
Right. Now, is that a low profile Holmes servo on the rear?
No, it's a full size SHV 800.
Okay. So SHV 800s front and rear.
Yeah.
Nice.
13 Magnum stubby. Right.
Yep.
It's right here. Shift winch. This one's got a TGH case in it because I wanted a little more gear ratio in the class 3.
Yep.
A little more reduction.
4S pack, that little guy?
Yeah, it's a 4S.
Nice. That's a compact little battery. I like that.
Yeah. You can kind of see it. I take it out. It's been sitting in there since.
Okay, so yeah, a little 454S.
Yeah.
It's been sitting in there since when? Since Alabama?
No, I think I actually drove it. I drove this truck one course at the Clash.
Oh, that's right. You guys, now you helped organize that. But before we get to that, how much are you driving your trucks outside of comps?
Rarely, very rarely.
Very rarely. I wondered. It's
very, very rarely. So I don't know. Usually, if I build a new truck, I'll go shake it down like 3 or 4 times in like a 2-week span.
Yeah.
Maybe 5-6 times, and then it kind of just sits.
Gotcha. Then you're familiar enough with how you set up your center of gravity and how it feels usually with your preferred setup on the bench that you just feel pretty confident in knowing your trucks are pretty similar as you go.
Yeah, like the C1 from when I built it. So the C1's actually a new truck for this year. And I made 0 changes to it from when I built it to when I ran it at Nationals.
Okay. It was just that little bit of familiarity and you were good.
Yeah, I drove it twice. I put 3 battery packs through it, actually.
Wild. And you built, that was a new truck this year because you won with it in 21. So you allowed yourself to build a new one.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's.
Yeah, that one's over there on the shelf too. The one from
21.
21.
Gotcha. The
C2 is the exact same truck as 21. I've been basically driving this same truck more or less since this truck was ready for Seattle Nationals when it was supposed to be in 2020 and got canceled.
Gotcha. So that was kind of.
So it's been like, it's 3 years old-ish or 2 years old.
Yeah,
I don't know.
give or take, right in there. That's I could have seen it go either way. I could have seen you just be like, yeah, I build them and I know how they're going to drive and I just take them to a comp. Or I could have seen you being the guy who's like, I religiously test and
No, I don't know. There's kind of a joke we make around here. Like a lot of people will come and give me their truck and they'll say, how does it feel? I'll just grab it like this. And I'll go like this. I'll say, okay, it feels good or it doesn't. You know what I mean? I said that's usually about what I do. Like when I build the truck, it's just about, kind of going through it, making sure nothing's binding,
Right.
Sometimes I build a set of shocks 5 times to get them to feel right. It's just, a repetitive work. Like that's probably one thing that I'm slower at than 99% of the people.
Yeah.
Is build trucks, because I'll build it and tear it down and build it and tear it down and build it and tear it down 10 times before I'm happy with it.
I mean, that's a different level. I mean, that's some detail for sure.
That's kind of that's where my focus is mostly, though. It's not the driving.
Right. When you're building and tearing down, like, are you changing link geometry or link material or rod ends or bends, or are you?
It could be anything, really. Sometimes, like, usually, like, links, since you brought those up, right? So, like, links, I kind of, I don't know, this is like the least cost effective way to do it, but it's how I do it, right? I'll go and just kind of guess. It's just a shot in the dark guess, you know?
That's the most unengineered thing I've ever heard.
Just from experience, you know what I mean? I have a general idea of what the link should be, you know what I mean?
Right.
I'll take a shot in the dark guess, you know? And then it's kind of, okay. Then I'll go order them from Deluxe because I'm too lazy to thread links myself.
I get that.
Yeah, because threading tie is a lot of work.
Yeah, it sucks.
It's, you know, I feel like I'd rather lie down in bed and take a nap than do that. But so I'll go guess, you know, I'm usually within, I'd say 5 millimeters of where I need to be.
Okay.
Right. And then, you know, that's after I bend them and everything. And I kind of adjust, play with it. And then from there, I'll make my adjustment. Okay, do I want to go forward or back with the chassis? You know, this. And then I might reorder them. And then now it's gotten to the point where I have like a giant box full of old titanium links.
Yeah.
So
I'm with you there. My link collection is pretty massive, but it comes from however many years of this type of situation. You know.
Yeah, and like scale trucks are they're unique in a way where you can figure it out pretty easily, right? Because almost every scale truck on the market is about 120 millimeter eye to eye front lower link.
Yeah, pretty close. Yeah, you know, it's chassis and, you know, the width of their skid plates can vary that stuff a little bit, but yeah, you're getting pretty close.
You're within millimeters.
Yeah.
You know, like 120s are probably a bit on the long side, but like almost everything's about that length. And it's just kind of what works, you know, with 3-link panhard geometry and stuff like that.
Right. You know,
so you know, you can kind of tell how long your skid plate is. And then, then it's just like basic addition, subtraction to get a ballpark for the rear links to hit the wheelbase you want.
Yeah.
That's about it.
Yeah. That's, you know, I can usually, if I'm building something and I've got a difference in a panhard, you know, like a new chassis got a panhard mount that's obviously different from wherever I was starting, you know, if it's a basic conversion of something, I'm usually like, okay, well, I know I'm going to need somewhere between a 75 and an 85 millimeter link end to end. And then, you know, eye to eye is usually 15 millimeters longer or so. So I usually know about where to start as well, but it's
like when I say it's like a guess, that's kind of what I mean. But
it's a well-educated guess.
Yeah. It's like I'm just clicking buttons on the web store and just grabbing one. But
now, just a person, do you live mainly in the metric system like the rest of us people?
Yeah.
Okay, good. I'm glad to hear it. So that's I have a hard time, you know, working in like standard units around these things. I'm like, I don't know how long dividing everything out because everything with these links.
Oh yeah, with links it's always millimeters. That's much easier.
Yeah, fully agree. Just making sure. You never know.
Yeah.
So let's see. I want to talk a little bit about the Clash, and then I want to talk about the comp crawling side and this year's upcoming nationals.
Okay.
So now I saw Clash of the Four Cardinals or Clash of the Cardinals. What was it called exactly?
Yeah, Clash of the Four Cardinals.
Happened at Horseman's Park end of May-ish or end of April. I don't remember when it was.
I think it was mid-May. I don't remember the dates. I want to say like 21st through 23rd.
So, yeah, something.
I'm probably but.
Yeah. Now, and you helped organize that. At least it appeared that way from the Facebook interactions.
Yeah, I did what I could.
Now, I guess I hadn't seen you in the, on the organizing side all that much before.
Yeah, it's just kind of this one. Frank needed help.
Yeah.
Frank had he needed help, and I don't know. He approached me, asked me, and so I did what I could. I've used kind of just what I've seen from other events and what I did like and didn't like, and it wasn't just me. Scott was involved. We had Frank. We had all the Visio boys from like Visio comps. There was Milt, Ryan Rodriguez from Shift, Doug, like all the elite comps group, and then Rick and all them. They all, there was probably 15 of us that all kind of contributed to it. It
takes a lot to organize those events. People underestimate what goes into an event of size, especially. So.
Yeah, it's like they did almost everything behind the scenes. It's just kind of me and Scott split like the social media stuff. So it looked like we did more of it than
that's a lot. That's oftentimes how things look, for sure. And I get that. That's I followed that. I wanted to attend. It didn't end up fitting into the schedule quite right. But regardless, that was a good size scale comp. And the hard part with most of those events is usually trying to find people to judge. It's a lot easier to throw a trail event than it is these scored course events.
Oh yeah, judging was a big issue we had.
Oh, I can imagine, but I didn't. It seemed like everything got managed pretty well.
Yeah, that's kind of a lot of us shifted our focus towards kind of making sure the day went by well, rather than actually focusing on driving and competing ourselves. So, kind of that's how we got through.
There was
more than
there was a lot of that at Scale Nats as well with those guys. I know, they're guys who were helping run that. I think I can't remember who it was. He came up in front of us on course 2 or something like that. Had a problem and broke his truck at like the third gate. And he's like, I'm done for the day. I got too much to do. I think it might have been Jimmy Jordan. And just because there isn't time. There's too many other things to go to try and make sure 150 other people have a good day. So Joe Zaniga, thanks for donation. He says, Nabil, talk about your uncanny time management. I imagine he means on-course time management, which is something that is hard, probably the most difficult thing for new people to understand, how fast 6 minutes goes on trying to get through 10 gates.
Well, what Joe's getting at, right, is because I tend to, usually when I run courses, it seems like I'm going, I don't know, it seems like I'm driving slow, but I usually cover a lot of ground pretty quick, right? Because I just don't waste time. It's just, point A to point B to C to,
Yes.
There's always like a continual progression. So Joe at one point made the comment, and he said, I swear it seems like Nabil has 7 minutes always. So then we just went for a while, right? We're telling, they'll start the timer when I'm about to run a course, and the judge will make a comment, okay, I made sure I got your extra minute on it, That's just become a big running joke now, and then it's referred to now here as the Nabil Minute. When you have a course that, people are struggling with, and you finish it with a minute and a half left, of course you have an extra minute added time to start.
Yeah, helping kind of push Matt through courses at National this year is the, people wasting time between gates when there's no penalty in that area. You just get from one point where you need to focus to the next, and don't screw around in the middle. Don't make extra gates that don't need to exist.
Exactly, 100%. That's the biggest thing I can tell anyone that's struggling with time is whatever speed you feel like you need to drive the gate, between the gates, you should try to be going 3 to 5 times as fast.
Yeah, just get there. Try and make sure you don't end up on your lid, but other than that, just hammer through it. You're not making a scale video. It doesn't have to look smooth. Just get there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. pick the smoothest line that you can see,
Yep.
and then just go.
Even if it's a little bit out of the way, just get
Yep.
there quickly. Absolutely. Watching that is something that it can be. Are you ever? How judgy are you silently in your own head when you do see other people running? You're like, are you?
Actually, so the biggest thing that I do usually is I play a game in my head where like I'll try to like pace someone. So I'll see them at like gate 4. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's usually about last time for a judge from the judge, and I try to guess whether they're going to finish or not.
That's a fantastic game. I love that game.
Yeah. For me too, it kind of helps me kind of work on keeping track of time too. You know what I mean? Because it's kind of okay. You know, this guy, like I might be sitting 30 feet away, but you know, you can hear him say, you know, ask for time. The judge says 4 minutes, right?
Uh-huh.
And then you go, okay, so he should finish with 4 minutes. You know, if he's through gate 4 at that point.
Right.
But then you know you make the guess. Will he finish? Will he not finish?
Yeah, and you know, if you're taking into account the amount of penalties they possibly, there's so many variables to it, and it all applies to either regular scale crawling or comp crawling, as we call it. Like, I still don't know how to refer to clearly tell people what I'm talking about. And I think that the other thing is that scale crawling has got so big. I think it's bigger than we ever experienced USRCCA crawling or WRCCA crawling, whatever you want to call it now.
I don't know. I think we had a couple of years USRCCA stuff that was probably bigger, right?
It might have,
Because
for actual comp sizes, I bet you're right.
Both comp sizes and like with nationals, like if you remember like the Vegas Nationals, there was 100 drivers invited, and then there was 90 for last chance qualifier.
Yes. Yeah.
Just to get.
Yeah, and
so then on top of that, you know, sponsor exemption stuff like that. There's probably 220, 230 people that showed up for a chance to get in. You know.
Right, and that's a good point. You know, we don't really have that ability to do that now with some of these comps because we're running so many classes. And it's like you can't run an LCQ for C1, C2, C3, you know.
Yeah.
But it was almost always LCQ was only for 2-2 Pro, you know, or whatever we called it before we were calling it that, before Sportsman was created. I don't remember when we started a Sportsman class.
The first one was 2012. First Nationals was.
Was it 12?
Yeah, it was in Alabama.
Man, I forgot all about that. I thought we were still just running minis, MOA, and supers then.
No, Alabama was the first year of Sportsman.
I guess I maybe did. I built a T1E moon buggy, their Sportsman chassis that they had made for that, or Shafty, whatever we were calling it. And it was I enjoyed all the years of comp crawling. I really did. It was just.
Yeah, it was fun.
It was a great time.
It was a lot of fun.
We had some cool places, and you know, it played a big part into what scale crawling has become now, as far as the companies that are involved and their success, and a lot of the parts that we have available, and just find back in the day, like if you can remember, being able to find an ESC that had instant reverse and drag brake was just. We had like 2 choices. Yeah. Everyone, they were never going to make a crawler specific one because there's like those crawler guys, like they're fine.
Yeah. Yeah. You just had Mama Maxes and then Novak.
Yeah. And which, the Novaks you had to run on like 2S or they caught fire randomly anyway. It was just.
Yeah.
Let's see. Tom Havel again. Thank you, sir. What are your thoughts on driving comp crawlers through some water? It's been a touchy subject over the last 10 plus years. Tom is in the Pacific Northwest, where those guys, 3/4 of the photos of their comps, they either had like trash bags on their radios and, always driving on slick, wet rock.
In my opinion on it?
Yeah.
Gross, Tom.
Southern California guy, obviously going to be the response.
Yeah. I don't even like looking at the rain, let alone being out into it.
We've been to however many of those that were rain events, and they were miserable.
Yeah.
Or did you ever? You came and competed with us in Disney, right?
Yeah, the flood nationals.
Yeah, the flood nationals. That
Yeah.
that one was.
I blew up that nationals.
You blew up what?
4 ESCs at that nationals.
That's. I mean, those type of your ESCs were all smashed together and heat shrinked into this tiny little cluster of. Oh, that was big.
That's probably your other chance you have at finishing above
Nope.
me, is that one. I think that's the worst I've ever finished at a big comp.
Nope.
Was that
I didn't make it through the LCQ that year.
Okay. All right.
Trust me, the only chance I have is back then. And still, you said 40th, and I'm guessing I was in 50th. I think there's a pretty good chance I never beat you. So
I don't know. I've had some bad events.
You know, I can't remember having very many good ones. No. Every once in a while I had an event where I'd crack up into that 20s or teens, but that was really good for me. If I could hit in the 20s and teens range, like I was pretty happy at a national event with 100+ drivers. Like that was a good day for me, or a good, week. But
That's being, I don't know, I think top 20 at any comp that's 60 or more people is a big accomplishment.
It really is. I mean, the guys that do well. It's like it's not necessarily a secret. It's just they know what they're doing. There isn't always, there's no, you can't just buy better parts. I've tried. It didn't work. It's like you got to
fully is that.
Yeah.
I think like the biggest thing I changed, right, is just like before I took that break, like where we competed a lot against each other was, I'm sure you remember, I used to be very a big risk taker. Just kind of, I always had like situations where like I'd finish top 3 or I'd finish like 40th. There wasn't a lot of middle ground for me at that time.
Yeah, that's and there was a lot of years, and still now, that things are super competitive at the top. It can be the difference in, especially if you end up with a really tough course type situation, you can take a big risk and finish a course that almost nobody's finishing, and all of a sudden you've set yourself up really well for the whole day.
Yeah, exactly.
And we had a lot of those.
What I changed is I try to just be as safe as possible, not really take risks. It's actually been working a lot better, I think.
That
it's less stressful for me. I mean, I don't have to worry about it. Like, I don't have to feel like I'm constantly chasing.
Yeah.
Because there's always those times where you have like something and you go, okay, I'm gonna go get this bonus, right? And it's a bonus that no one did, for example. And then it goes and you end up hitting both of them, right? So now you're 10 in the hole. So then you try to do something else down the road to like make up that 10, and you just keep chasing points all day.
Right. Yeah.
Now I've shifted to more of like a laid back, just stick the truck between the gates and then just do what the truck does. Don't try to do anything extraordinary or out of the ordinary.
Right.
And that's it. I think for me, it fits me better. It keeps me from feeling pressured a lot. So
yeah, scale nationals this year, in a way, I took that approach, but only because I had only just finished my trucks. I didn't have any shakedown time on them really. So I just wanted to finish courses, because if you can finish courses, you can usually set yourself up in a pretty decent stack of the outcome. And for me, that was really what I needed to focus on. It was like, I just need to finish, do the best I can between there. But it was totally different reasons for me versus how you're approaching it.
Well, yeah, especially with scale stuff too, because like a DNF, like with our pro trucks, right, is just 40 minus progress. It's 40 penalties minus progress. With scale, it's 60 penalty points plus the 20 because they don't like you, and then minus progress.
Yeah, like that DNF penalty on top of things in scale is a huge deal.
It's a killer. Like that one will make or break a day for a lot of people.
And if people don't, just kind of breaking that down a little bit, on a typical comp course, you have 10 gates. Each one that you get through is -2. That's your progress point. So if you get through all 10 gates, you get -20 progress points. And then it's like golf, low score wins. But you have 60 penalty points that you can occur before they stop the course. Your progress doesn't count towards that. It's only calculated at the end. So if you go through and you hit 6 gates, 10 points each, you don't get to go any further. And at that point, you take your 60 points, you minus however many gates you got through for progress, and then they give you an extra 20 points. So it makes this huge jump between people who finished a course and people who could have got so close but didn't. It's an interesting difference between the two rule sets. And there's been a couple of questions in here. Deluxe sells talent, Pete Berg says. And thank you, Pete. Ask about rules changing. I'm trying to rules changing there. I mean, over a lot of years, there's been some rule changes that have been significant. And I haven't followed 2-2 Pro in a handful of years now. So is there...
Pro's basically the same.
Okay, that's what I wondered. I'm like, is there anything...
No, you don't need body panels anymore.
You don't need any body panels anymore?
No.
We used to have like a certain... Like, it had to be this tall and this long, and it had to be like the size of a business car. That's interesting.
That's about it.
But
I think Pete's probably trying to get info if rules are changing for the future.
Well, this was actually somebody else asking about rules. So, but talking about comp crawling nationals, WRCCA as it's called now, that is going to happen this year in Southern California at Cougar Buttes.
Yep.
I forgot to link to it in the description of this video, but if you go to the Scale News, I've linked to it the last couple of weeks. There's a Facebook group there. So I've been putting that information in there. If you guys want to go check that out, go back to the Scale News from the last couple of weeks and click that link. But I haven't followed that area as much. I know Cougar Buttes, but beyond that, can you give us some background on what's going on, or?
So it's like maybe 20 minutes from Horseman's.
Yeah, you can see it from there.
Yeah, almost. You have to get over the hill, but yeah, once you're there. Well, first, before I go any further, just go to the Facebook group thing. There's not a lot of info right now. I'm gonna be announcing ticket sales and all that stuff over the next few weeks. I've been moving this past month, so I just wanted to get it announced and kind of put it up there as a save the date for people. Yeah,
absolutely.
Right, and then more info is going to be coming in. Okay, yeah, and then kind of there's some stuff I'll get to in a little bit, but yeah, Cougar Buttes. It's 20 minutes from Horseman's. If you look at it, it's I'd say probably 6 square miles of rock.
It's a totally different rock too than Horseman's.
It's better rock than Horseman's,
which is
I might be
that's a bold statement because Horseman's is pretty awesome.
Yeah. Oh, Cougar Buttes has like 10 times the Rockets Horsemen.
which is amazing because I mean that whole area.
Yeah.
It's Johnson Valley, so it's it's.
I don't know. Like I said, I might just be biased because I have like a horseman's curse.
Oh, really?
But
I was unaware.
So, but yeah, I've never won a comp at horseman's.
Huh. You know what? Me either. I am also cursed. So.
Yeah. Yeah. I guess. But yeah. Cougar Buttes, it's a BLM land, so Bureau of Land Management. There's on-site camping. There's pit toilets. It's a giant off-road vehicle area. The King of the Hammers race, their race course runs through part of it. And that's like a relatively small part of it, to be honest, with the race course.
Access is pretty reasonable in just about any type of passenger car, right? So it's a dirt-ish road to get back there, but that's it.
Yeah, at the worst, it might be slightly washboarded.
Yeah, so
like the edges sometimes can get sandy, but it's like 2-lane wide dirt road.
Right.
You just stay in the line.
So pretty reasonable there.
Yep.
I have some questions about people who are thinking about getting in, but let's make sure we cover that later at some point.
Okay. I was gonna say, like, as far as accommodations go, there's like a lot of places. There's a lot of options, really. All right, like if you go like the traditional hotel route, it would be like the Victorville or Apple Valley area. I don't think Apple Valley actually has any hotels per se, besides like this one or two tiny like independent motels. But like Victorville has like all the chain hotels you can imagine. They're all there, right? Victorville, Apple Valley, Hesperia, there's tons of Airbnbs. I know a few guys stayed there for the Clash last month. And then Cougar Buttes also, you have the ability to stay in Big Bear.
Oh, no kidding.
Rent a lake, and it's the same drive. It's about a 45-minute drive from Big Bear to Cougar Buttes. So if you want to sit in the mountains under the trees, and have a completely different landscape.
Right.
Too,
Yeah. I would. Nicole just wouldn't wake up in the morning. She'd be like, I'm just staying here. I'll be here.
Yeah. Big Bear is really nice. So.
By the way, Nicole said hello.
Sorry, I said.
I will, of course. So I have, once you posted that, it was like, you guys are going to throw it down there. I have never competed at Cougar Buttes. I've only been there in full-size off-road stuff. I was like, man, I would not mind setting something up again. Yeah. But like a lot of times, or, things have changed, and what's available and what's the things to get. You don't want to, spend your money in the wrong way. It's not inexpensive to build a pro car. So I've seen one that you can buy basically available. I wondered what your thoughts were on that. I think it's like Extreme Route.
I think as an entry-level car, probably the best one's the deluxe car.
Just that one that he's got available with the super lights and everything.
Yeah, it's a $1,300 truck as a roller, I think. All right.
Is it that low? I mean, that's not cheap. I'm not saying that, but like,
it's under 1,000 ready to run.
Yeah, which is.
So.
I've got I have a pseudo pro here that I've had sitting in a box since 2017. I was like, man, I would like to build this. I
saw you post it the other day, the orange one.
Yeah, I found the box. I was like, oh man. Yeah. So do you have your pro there? Is that what you're grabbing?
So just if anyone wanted to see, like, this is basically the deluxe one as it comes.
Okay.
Tires are user choice, and then other than that, it comes axles, chassis links, shocks, everything.
Can you show people the kind of the underside of that? Just because it's, if you don't know what a Pro is, you can see the motors are located on each axle and there's a gearbox there. There is no drive shaft. So, and then you have independent control of each motor to get like dig functions and, variable control, whatnot.
They're all done through the radio. So.
Right. Are you running a Futaba? Which one?
7PX.
Okay. Yep.
Yeah. This is my new Pro.
Okay.
Same axle.
Yeah.
Pin 5th dimension chassis. Deluxe axle.
Nice.
Whether I run this one at nationals or not is still kind of yet to be seen.
Gotcha. And just because you're not familiar yet, or?
Yeah, I'm just too comfortable with my XR10. So.
Oh, so you're not, that other truck isn't even your.
No, that's Frank's truck.
Oh,
He just
okay.
gives me the stuff and asks me to fix them, and then I just leave them in my garage for months at a time.
Hey, that's still not bad turnaround. Good work.
Yeah.
What car is that? That's a Deluxe, DLUX is what is deluxefab.com, I believe, is the website.
Yep.
Deluxe was started a long time back by a guy that, oh my God, what was his name?
Eric.
What was it?
Eric.
Sorry, yeah, Eric Deluxe. Or that wasn't actually his last name, but that's what we always called him. And he sold it maybe a couple of years ago to some guys like Green Mountain or Green something.
Iron Rock.
I was close. Green. But they've been continuing on. They bought the business and continuing on, and stuff available. They seems to be going pretty well.
Yeah, Jason's the guy who bought it. He's a good guy. He used to show up to a lot of comps. He was always with Barry. So.
Oh, okay.
Do you remember Barry? Probably met Jason.
Oh, well, that's cool.
Yeah.
It's been cool to see that they've continued on and released new stuff.
Lots of nice.
Yeah, I actually bought one of the little tiny transmissions like this weekend. The portal transmission that they call it. Do you have a Super?
I do. You want me to get it?
Yeah, I think that would be a fun one to see. Chris was asking in here. Let's see. So yeah, good. I'm glad he's got that handy. The Supers are like the 2.2 Pros. They're just, Eric Dye was Deluxe name. They're just, they still motor on axle, but 4-wheel steer, much bigger tires. The rules for 2.2 Pro, at least back in the day, were had to be 12.5-inch wheelbase, which is like a big difference between scale trucks now, which can be any wheelbase. It just has to fit the body and things like that in certain classes. First, not like for us, it was always back in the day. You went to tech, they checked that you fit the wheelbase. You had to be right on, and it couldn't get longer at any point in the suspension cycle. So we were always just splitting hairs to make sure we were just dead nuts 12.5-inch wheelbase. They'd check that. I think we used to check width, which wasn't as crucial because people didn't usually go quite as wide. And then tire height was, I think, limited to 6 inches, at least back then. The new Deluxe Fam's now in Minnesota. I didn't know that. For some reason, I thought they were in Pacific Northwest still. That's cool to hear.
Okay. I'm back.
Are you running the Proline pin tires now, or are you running something different?
I keep going back and forth between the G8 Ibex and then my silver Voodoo pins that they don't make anymore.
Gotcha.
Yep.
So, I did see the G8 Ibex recently released, publicly. So that was cool to see. The Predators were the softer version that was only available before, and
it's the Predators I didn't like at all.
Gotcha.
And then I bugged them a few times, asked them for G8 ones, and they sent me some G8 ones last year. And
see, there was the secret. That's why. Parts you can't get. That's why you went. Let's see your Super here.
Okay. I gotta like figure out how to get it all in frame.
Yeah, and there's a narrower version on my screen even for what they're seeing. Maybe I can go. Actually, let me see if I can do this. Nope. Hold on. My fault. Give me this. Will this work? There we go. Sorry. Now I just did. It's full screen on you so that they can see. So anything that fits in your camera will fit on there. The supers are truly impressive. Like, what size are the wheels on that?
The wheel's 6 1/4.
And the front wheel, if you can actually both front and rear, you'll get weight hangers hanging way down there and full of tungsten.
Yeah.
So anything that's on your screen they can see now. But
Okay.
so how much weight are you adding in each of those?
I don't know. Actually, I can count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 17. So that's 8.5 ounces.
8.5 ounces per wheel, per front wheel.
Yeah.
And it looks like you have a little bit less in the rear.
Yeah, I got 2.5 in the rear.
And then you've got that was like the Deflux Fab Servo Strengthener set up on top. Is that right?
Yeah.
I kind of remember that. It was, so you had to run a 180-degree travel servo, but it doubled the strength with the gear reduction.
Yeah. So this one's A700 Futabas.
Uh-huh.
Which are crazy strong.
Super power hungry, super strong.
Yeah. Servo strengthener. So I think like math wise, it's like a 2-to-1 reduction. So it puts it out to like 22 or 2,300 ounce inches per axle.
That's insane. And then those are deluxe super lights. What do they call them?
Yeah, the super lights, I think, is the right term.
Hey, what do you know? I'm a marketing guy. And that is the deluxe chassis too, right?
No, this one's a Fifth Dimension chassis.
Oh, okay, sorry. Is Fifth Dimension, that's the same Fifth Dimension that's been since forever?
It was Travis. Remember Travis from Hawaii?
Yeah.
Yeah, so he's the one that started it, and now Chris Boggs owns it. With
Okay.
He's a Dan guy up in Washington.
Yeah. C Boggs, right? Who on RCC for ever?
Yeah, and then Dan was like 72 CJ5 or something.
Okay. Yeah. And so, I think I remember Fifth Dimension mainly with Boggs, and so
Okay.
I think he's for. But what's the wheelbase on that super?
Yeah. What was that?
What's your wheelbase roughly? 18 inches?
Yeah. Like, I can do this. Like, this is someone who needs a rinse.
I mean, it's really, supers are kind of amazing. They're just robots how well they do. Now, those tires are all custom made.
Yeah.
And they're several sections of pin tires to create that wild looking thing.
Like truggy hot body chaoses.
That's what those are.
Yeah.
Wow.
So for an 8-scale truggy, I think I can probably get the seam for someone to see. Maybe. Yeah, like you can see the seam right there.
Yeah. Is it just it's just 2 tires or
1.5? Like
one?
Exactly. Like there's a seam there, and then there's a seam like here, which I don't know if it shows up well.
Barely, but that's what's kind of more. That's almost just as impressive. Making tires is not easy. Some people are so good at it. It's crazy, and to see clean seams is impressive to me because I've tried and mine are never been that clean.
A big trick to it is just having like the right supplies.
Yeah.
I don't know when the last time you tried is, but
maybe a couple of years. But right after I saw your C3.
Okay, I was gonna say like now like the AKA glue is like compared to like when we were trying to make them 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And using BSI ultra thin and stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly.
Like the new tire glues are like way better now, so it makes it a lot easier.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
So
it's like
now, And then Sportsman, or what do they call it? Is they call it Sportsman?
I think the official name is 2.2S.
Oh, okay.
I've never.
Yeah, so 2.2S, which is basically shaft driven. Now, do you compete in that, or do you say you never did?
Yeah. Yeah. So this is my new shaft. I brought this one because I figured this is probably one of the more attainable ways for someone to go from, scale to the comp side.
It'd be the most familiar thing for sure, because you've got one motor, one transmission, and drive shafts to axles you may even be familiar with. Like, I don't, what are your axles?
I brought this one specifically. This one's all Capra based. So,
that's impressive.
Well, not all Capra based.
Yeah.
That's what I mean.
I knew.
It's got a super shafty front Capra axle.
Okay.
Plastic rear axle.
Okay.
Deluxe transmission, hamburger. That's about it.
Now, what are you running for wheels? Do you have weight hangers inside of those front wheels?
Yeah.
I think that's something that would be pretty impressive if you're not. So the inside of the wheel isn't a normal barrel. It's not a beadlock even. It's got this weight hanger that hangs in there, and it's kind of wild when you're not used to seeing this type of stuff, because your tires are they just glued to the side of the face?
Yeah, so the face bolts to like an SLW hub on this truck, right?
Right.
And then the outside of the tire glues to the inside of the face.
Yep.
And then there's like two rings of G10 that are in between the beads that the inside of each bead glues to, and that's about it.
Yeah, it's
So, you can see
now are those the loaded dice? Is that what Deluxe called them? Is that what those are? Are they a version of it, or? It's definitely impressive. I love seeing that stuff, and it's cool to, some of that has made its way to the scale side, but some of it was rules were put in place so that it didn't come in, which I agree that a lot of it doesn't belong in the scale world.
No, I would definitely have a weight setup like that on my scale truck.
Oh, for sure. Like, it's I get why they, but they were just like, okay, we don't want this. We want wheels that still look like wheels in the scale world. So I'm glad that they did in that way.
No.
But, seeing the massive version of it in Super, and then how it works down into 2.2. And we used to run a 1.9 class, which was like low C.
Smaller.
Do they still run them?
Yeah.
I had no idea. It was still a thing.
Yeah.
What? Will that be at Nationals? That would be a 1.9 class?
Yeah, like the Fisherman effect. I'll let the truck big.
Do you put it next to one of your scale trucks? Yeah, because this is what 1.9 used to mean to us. We used to call it uneffectually the pissant class. Like, it was, they were low C MRCs, and it was just Matt popped in for a second. I think he's still at his work event, but popping in, saying hello to you, Nabil. So
yeah. Hi, Matt.
I know he wanted to be here, but we definitely wanted to still get you on. And otherwise it would have just been me talking to everybody. So that doesn't sound like anything. Yeah. I got enough of those live shows. So yeah, it's funny to see that now, what are you guys running for axles on those 1.9s?
Well, so I'll be honest. This one I built for a very specific reason, right? I don't know if you remember how like overall trophies work.
Yes.
But it was basically your best 3 out of 4. You know what I mean?
So you're right.
Right. So the mini is always run generally end of the day Sunday. It's like the last one to be ran. So I put this as like my backup plan. If I screw up one class, I can at least come back with that to try to get the overall back.
Yeah, that was the only reason when we used to only run 3 classes, because we used to have 1.9, Pro, and Super.
Yeah.
So I only had a 1.9 just so that I could try and have some sort of chance at having an impressive looking result for an overall. I'm like, hey, I was in top 6 of the overall. So
Yeah. So that was that's why I built it more than anything.
that's
I've comped it once. I've driven it once.
what were the axles? You never told me.
Front one is MRC front axle with XR10 outers.
You can still get parts for those?
No.
Okay.
No, I just have a box full of MRC stuff from when I was a low speed driver.
Okay.
So, and then the rear one is MRC axle with they're like the 3D printed adapters.
Yeah.
And they're 10 lockouts.
Wild.
Yeah.
I'm just still so surprised that those are still a thing.
Yeah, I don't know. Them being a thing is subjective, but yeah, it is a thing.
They're still technically there.
Yeah.
Huh. That's
Yeah.
Oh, that's see, I've been gone a long time from that and just have not paid attention. Really, really cool to see so much of it. Now, things I would say maybe around that like 2012, or maybe it was like 2013-ish. A lot of stuff really started going. That was when like lightweight started becoming the way.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. For me, I think I was one of the people that started kind of that trend.
You and
Right.
Jake,
Yeah, Jake and Casey took it way further than anyone, and like actually had trucks at 3 pounds that worked amazing, But when I say I think I kind of started it as not directly me myself, but I was one of the driving factors in it. I think.
yes,
As after the nationals, I said where I blew up 4 speed controls, right? The next big comp after that was the one that the Y-Town boys put on in Arizona in Casa Grande.
Okay, yep, that was that Copper State.
Yeah, the Copper State.
Yep.
I couldn't remember what it was called. All right, and then for that event, I decided I went back to my Berg. I built a whole new truck, like ground up truck. You know what I mean? Like, this was a truck that actually it had a ton of custom parts on it. It was, between like actual people making nice parts and me sitting. I remember, I think I probably had one of the first set of knuckle weights on a pro truck, right? And I made them using a hole saw on a drill press and a sheet of brass. And then I bolted them all together and spun them while I was hitting it with a flapper wheel on a grinder to get them down to the size to fit in the wheels.
Yeah, like that seems about right.
But,
but
that event with a 4.5 pound Berg, and this was 2011, like early 2011.
Oh wow, yeah. Well, because Nationals in Disney that year that you burned up 4, that was 2010.
Yeah, exactly. So this February 2011, I went from a 6.5 pound truck at Nationals 2010 to a 4.5 pound truck for Arizona.
Yeah, that's pretty wild. And I was saying 2012, 2013. Yeah, like you're definitely pushing that estimation back. I remember I didn't make the LCQ that year at 2010 Disney because I had been running my Berg constantly up till then and doing well. And right before that event was when Axial released the XR10.
Yeah.
So I decided, let's build a brand new truck for Nationals, which is the dumbest thing you could do. But even then it
goes both.
Yeah.
I
was like,
sometimes it doesn't.
Right. And then even for then on, it was always about what the what it looked like on the internet, even though it was just so. I remember Steve, who I now work with every day, he flew into Disney and he handed me like one of the first 2 prototypes of XR10 knuckles so that I could run aluminum knuckles on my XR10 at that event.
Yeah.
It's just
Yeah.
crazy.
That's kind of back then. There was a lot of weird. It wasn't as easy, I think, as it is now.
Oh, I fully agree. Back then it was, there was some parts being made, but you were still having to kind of like work this in or work like. It was only when the XR10 came out did things start to be like, okay, a little bit more of a standardized, a little bit more availability, some like parts you could buy a chassis and buy link sets for this and for that. And it turned into a bit of a mainstream thing for too short of a time, I'd say.
Yeah, I agree with what you're saying too.
It's
I think we were pushing trucks too hard too at the time for kind of what we had. Also, reliability was a huge issue.
It really was. I mean, braking stuff back. I mean, we didn't have servos are so different now than they were then. We were dealing with like 300 ounce inches was great, and
exactly.
And now I won't run that on a scale truck. Like 300 ounce inches. Ugh.
My mini's got a ProTech 370 in it to give you an idea.
See, you're running 800 ounce inches on your 1.9 mini. You're just dude. Yeah, it was reliability, gear strength. It was.
It just took everyone time to kind of. I think like then we were kind of. It came from like what you would call like the infancy to like, okay, now we're actually figuring it out, right? But we didn't really figure it out yet. You know what I mean? It's like we got the concepts right, I think, but we didn't have the execution down to like what trucks are today.
Yeah, I mean, and I guess I can't compare to trucks today because I don't know, but I could totally see it and just
like parts in general. Not even. It's just.
Axle shafts and gears, servos, like we were saying, the speed controls, custom motors, so much of that stuff. It's really, really a different world now, and I can see how the popularity of the scale stuff has helped on that as well. I think that would be hard to argue too much against.
Definitely.
I just really thinking about, I would like to go down to nationals. And if I want to go down there, I really think that I was like, I should get a truck put together, at least and I think I would rather do 2.2 Pro than Sportsman. I always enjoyed the 2.2 Pro the most. It's so if the deluxe seems like the way to go, it seems like it sure makes it easy too, because you can just
you click a button and it's at your door.
I mean, God,
it's a great truck, like just out of the box. Like it's a truck that is capable of winning any event, I think.
Yeah, it just, if the driver is or not is a whole nother thing, which yeah.
But a lot of it comes down to, really, it's trucks don't take you that far.
Yeah, I can see it. I know what you mean.
They're harder, but they're not going to win.
What I think I'll be the most excited about is I haven't driven a 2.2 Pro even in a really long time. And just seeing we didn't have the low hanging, the knuckle loaded dice type wheels. When I did it last, I remember I sold mine in 2014. I sold my XR10 based Pro, and because I used that money to buy my first 3D printer. And that was the
Okay.
last time I owned one, and I stopped competing at that point, basically. I went to a couple more, but not to compete myself. And I think picking one up again and getting to see what they'll do, or just even, I bet I would be surprised again, even if I got to drive my old car.
Yeah, the new ones are pretty ridiculous. Like, I don't think it's like a huge leap and bound like jump in like capability, but it's like a huge jump in drivability, if that makes
Oh,
sense.
yeah.
Like they're just, it's you're not really going to be making stuff that you know what I mean. Is considerably harder than what your old truck would, but it just makes it easy.
Gotcha. Yeah, just the being able to do it easier, a little bit more predictable, things like that. I can totally see that.
Yeah, that's really all it is. It just makes the driving the truck way easier.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that, of course, the pie in the sky side of me is always just like, you know what? I should do a 2.2 Pro. I should get a shafty set up. Maybe think about getting a soup. Like,
Yeah.
really, where I should just like get one, focus on the big day, have fun seeing everybody again, and get to enjoy it a little bit more. But it still doesn't stop me from wanting to just do it.
Fun.
I think so too.
I'm hoping it'll be fun. Like, I don't know. There's a couple things that I think I'm going to try to do a little different than how it's been done before. But
yeah, so you told us a little bit about your involvement with the Cardinals, but what is what's your level of that with the WRCCA event?
I think as this one is, it's my event.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah. So it's I have a bunch of people that are willing to help.
Oh.
I haven't really assigned anything yet out.
Yeah.
It's kind of, there was a discussion, I don't know, last year at some point about nationals, right?
Uh-huh.
And that was just kind of, no one wanted to do it. And I just wanted to drive my pro truck. I get tired driving scalers all the time. So
yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, I had no idea. I wondered if it was, you were helping out again, and being that I just saw you help out with another event, I kind of just assumed that even. So, that's great. And happy to help keep relaying information as it becomes available on the news for ticket availability and hopefully some rules. But I think I'd like, if I can get the basics of a truck put together sooner or later, it'd be great to maybe see if there's anybody else who also here or there would like to try jumping into it. And it's not nationals in the way that, I'm not saying this in a negative way at all, but like that scene has shrunk a little bit, or a lot since the days of its heyday, and even compared to like scale nationals nowadays. So it's not something just because it's nationals. I wouldn't, if you have the ability, have the interest in going, don't let the fact that it's the nationals shy you away. Like,
yeah,
it's just like any of our RC events. People are great.
that's
Yeah, a little bit there for a second. What were we saying?
I was saying, think of it as like a big fun local comp.
Yeah. I mean, no one's going to be mad at you or anything like that. Like it's no one's covering up their cars with a towel, or probably nobody with a towel, and unwilling, not willing to help you out or share some info or some help. Like make it a thing. If you have the ability, if you have the desire at all, like, thinking about making it happen is definitely worth it.
Yeah. Even if people want to come out, just hang out for a camping trip or whatever,
or come drive,
check it out.
Come drive scale trucks around it. Like,
there's tons of
yeah, you're not going to have any shortage of terrain. So
yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah. Getting people kind of back into pro trucks is something that I've been trying to do.
Yeah.
And like, it was secretly the reason why I got into scale trucks, to be honest.
Man,
I had this
progression.
I had this master plan that if I started driving scale trucks, I can go and talk about how much better a Pro Truck is constantly, then people would switch.
Yeah, it is a whole different experience. It's so much fun seeing Proline have the Ibex tires and things like that. It's just like, oh, I'm so glad that they did that. You know, I know Deluxe had made some tires a while back. I don't know if they did as well as people hoped.
They just redid them.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and 3 new compounds. And they actually, the 2 compounds that I haven't gotten a chance to drive them yet, but they feel good.
And
they feel good.
We all know that that's all you have to do now, since you've told me.
I couldn't say the same about the old version of the Deluxe tires.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, like they feel really similar to like what a tire should feel like.
That, you know, again, it is cool to see how that business has progressed and stayed so focused in that area. And, you know, you do see some of it trickle into the scale world, you know, I've seen the hamburger and cheeseburger transmissions, the new Portal transmission, all of those things make their way into scale stuff. But Knuckles, I think has been probably the most common thing to see. They're called the Goat tires. Is that the Deluxe tires?
Yeah.
Okay. I wouldn't have been able to remember that.
Yeah.
And then is someone else making a tire? Like those tires are very similar to the old hot body Rovers, right?
Yeah, they're like, so a lot of guys like doing the 1.9 Rovers on pin sidewalls. They're like custom making their tires.
Oh, okay.
The Goats are more or less just a pre-made version of that tire.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
So they're like they're a little bit of the smaller tread blocks and stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
Gotcha. Huh.
And then the guy from China, that Extreme Route guy, he has those huge pins now.
Yes, very HPs, huge pin.
Yes.
That's the other setup that I had seen available, and looked at it, and I don't love the kind of the less linked style that it has, but
yeah, they seem to work good. Like I get to Matt, my buddy Matt has them on his Pro Truck, and he ran them all season. Matt hates pin tires usually, and so he usually ends up running them for a comp, and then takes them off, and then gets mad, goes back to his Rovers. Those stayed on his truck season, so that kind of says something about them.
Gotcha. All right, how much of what are you guys doing for seasons down there? You have a local scene that's.
Yeah, the Borderline Crawlers.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I've seen that group. I think I'm in that Facebook group.
Yeah.
Maybe
we just finished our season because it gets too hot.
Yeah, exactly. That's why did Axel get rid of the XR10? So the XR10, I think that was it was a bit of a casualty of the Hobbyco downfall. It kind of happened when a lot of things were pretty odd in the whole behind the scenes side. Maybe I'll have Matt Carney on another day and maybe talk about that, or possibly if I can get Brandon too, but he's got a very busy child raising home life to join these. But I think there's some interesting stories to be told about the XR10, and it's because it was a good truck. They sold a lot of them, and then the supply of them stopped, and then aftermarket parts stopped. And you said you're still running an XR10. You said.
Yep. That's
still just your truck, your go-to, huh?
Yeah, I don't know. I like it. I'm used to it. Problem.
Right. Now, do you have parts supply issues? Do you break anything anymore? Like,
I broke it recently, but I may or may not have like multiple of these Tupperware boxes that are behind me full of XR10 parts.
Plan ahead, I guess, right? Your organization behind you is very impressive. Is that all RC?
It's just it's all fake, just for the video.
It's a facade. You just reach behind you and just tear down the printed wall.
Up yesterday.
Oh, that's right. You just moved, so I know we had to pick a time when you were finally able to get a little settled.
Yeah, they might only be like that for, I don't know.
Not here to judge. This is all fake. Anything that the camera doesn't see is a disaster. So,
Oh yeah. To my scenario right now, like, looking off elsewhere, like I'm looking at garage floor that cannot be walked through because there's so much stuff on it.
I know it. I know the life.
Yeah.
So, yeah, man.
I'm a very messy worker. So
You know,
I tend to explosions of parts. So this is short-lived. What's behind me?
yeah, that's well. At least it's there for the meantime. I mean, I was just kind of looking. You'd be talking. I was like, I see a box of foams. I think I see a box of batteries. It looks like parts bags. I was trying to guess what some of them were silently to myself. But
Like all batteries.
Yep.
This one's all wheels. That one's all electronics. There's lots of stuff.
Yeah.
The ones there off camera have the cool stuff.
Yeah. That it's we sell XR10 gears and gear shafts. Keeping more rigs running helps. Matt Beast. That's Matt. What company is that? Matt Beast.
Matt's
with Deluxe.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. They just started. They just had XR10 gears made recently.
No kidding. That's pretty cool. So, the that was the thing for the longest time, was just every once in a while some secret stash of XR10 machine gears would pop up as available, and it was a mad rush.
Yeah.
So that yeah, who knows.
Ooh.
Man, Nabil, I appreciate you taking the time. Maybe as I'm able, I make some decisions and pick something up, and as the comp gets there and maybe some more information comes, and Matt can join, because I'm sure that my nerding out on old comp glory days probably could have used some balancing of Matt's side as well. But I had an absolute blast, man. I really appreciate you agreeing.
It was a good time.
So, like to have you on again, especially as things start going more towards the event, and if there's anything I can do outside that you want pushed out on videos, let me know, man. Happy to get info out there for you. So,
yeah, we can do it. Like, as of now, just for that event, it's October 21st to 23rd, Southern California. Tickets, I don't know. I'm hoping ticket sales are going to be going up like beginning of July, so a couple weeks.
Great. Tickets likely a little not the 4-minute sellout time.
No.
So when I see it available, I'll make sure and put that up so everyone knows.
Yeah. And the one thing that I'm doing that kind of just let everyone know. Both so Elite Comps and Shift stepped up as kind of title sponsors of the event.
I saw the dual image of the and I was like trying to figure out like what to put on the news. I'm just using the dual image thing. I don't know.
Yeah. So they stepped up as like title sponsors, right? It's both of them are great guys, and what they're letting me do with it is they're covering all of the costs for the event. So everything that I get in ticket sales, I'm just splitting as cash payouts for first through third, or first through fifth.
Let's see. So what would my if I won? No, I'm kidding.
It depends how many people sign up.
I'm not worried. I'll just donate to the fund, is what I'm saying. So someone will get to enjoy my money, I'm sure. That's.
But I think I'll be the first nationals with a cash payout. I'm sure you've seen us SoCal guys, especially Frank. He likes his cash comps. So.
And Frank is with Elite, right? Like, I know that he helped make that happen for.
It's his baby, that Elite Comps.
Gotcha.
So.
My first experience with Elite Comps was Nationals in Vegas for Scale Nats.
Yeah.
And they put up money for that, and they're just like a local group, right?
Yeah, that's mostly just Frank.
Yeah.
And Frank likes to give back to people.
Yeah, like
And
they're
that's-
not turning a profit and do it like it's just it was
No.
awesome. I was like, wow, that's because I can't remember what else they donated to at that event, but it was generous.
It was someone, I don't remember who it was, but one of the companies dropped out. And they were supposed to do like all the gift bags and stuff.
Right.
And then like Jason hit up Frank like a week before, and then Frank had them all made, shipped to Jason, and then all that stuff.
Yeah, it was above and beyond, and it was cool to see. So I mean, thanks again. Yeah, both shifts and them, and I'll make sure to include that next time we're talking about it. So appreciate it, and definitely a side of the hobby I enjoyed.
I wanted to put out that we are doing cash payouts. I don't know. People might have expected it with who the title sponsors were, but
that's hard. That's a hard thing to expect. So, but I know I did miss a couple of donation things as I was going. So thanks to everyone who did that. I noticed Squints Palidorus Hobby Room Made Fund. Thanks. Harry G. DriveTech still has adapters on Shapeways. I think that was in response to the MRC axle stuff.
Yeah.
So,
there's something you said you wanted to go back to. I don't remember what it was.
I don't either. I think it might have just been about somebody wanting to get into it, and I think that was specifically about the question, like, were you talking about like just pick up the deluxe pro setup? And I think that really was the thing that I was wanting to talk about.
Yeah, I think to like kind of there is like the Bully 2, the RC 4-wheel drive, right? But it's kind of with pro trucks. There's not like it's not like scale where you can start with something and then continuously upgrade.
Yeah, that's what I was.
Yeah, once you pick your base platform, you're very limited on where you can go.
Because it's basically the truck is the axles and I mean a lot of it anyway. It's like.
Exactly. So there's not like a clear, upgrade path that you can take. And I think that's what hurts it compared to scale a lot.
I agree. It's a really interesting, like we always talked about, like when we were talking about our trucks from back in the day, it's like, oh, that's when I was driving my XR. It's when I was driving my Berg. It was always just what axles. And then, it connected to something that was a shape. And, a lot of us then that was when we ran on a team a lot, like, oh, I'm on T1E, I'm on TCS,
Like, this is my XR10, right? To give you an idea, right?
Yes.
The only actual factory axial XR10 parts on it are the axle housings.
Top and bottom?
Yeah, I run plastic tops.
Yep.
But it has Vanquish link mounts, Vanquish gearboxes, knuckles, C's, everything. Like the only thing, and the front shafts are still stock axial shafts.
No kidding.
But, yeah.
So.
Other than that, everything else is upgraded on it. So.
Yeah.
That was the last truck, I think, where there was an upgrade path, really. Like the Bully, there's no aftermarket support other than RC 4-wheel drive. So you're kind of stuck with what you get,
Mm-hmm. And I have never had well, that's not true. I do have Bully 2 axles. I think I got them around the same time as that chassis in 2017, and I never touched them. I also have a brand new set of in the box Berg axles still. Yeah, but
I have one Berg axle.
New. But even then, like Berg axles, like there was a bit of an upgrade path with Berg axles. Like back in the day, you could do like the RC Bros tubes, and there was a couple of people who like made some cases here and there, but most people were just running like shaved cases.
Yeah, well, that's kind of what I was saying. It's like now you have RC 4-wheel drive who makes a Bully, the Bully 2. And there is no upgrade path for that truck, right? Because I think the only thing you can really do is do brass knuckles or knuckle weights from RC 4-wheel drive. You can do universals from RC 4-wheel drive. Or you can spend big money for the deluxe knuckles and where they machine all your stuff out and put like the big shafts in and everything. Yeah. right? And at that point, you're now at more money than buying the deluxe axles to start, right? You can do Exceed has those plastic MOA axles.
Oh God, those are still a thing?
Yeah, it's if you find them, like it's a good source. If you ever need colored spacers, they're a good source of colored spacers. If you go to their spare parts listings.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah. Yeah, there's that Exceed truck. Red Cat has like a Danchi, that Danchi Ridge Rock.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
And then there's the deluxe truck. You're not gonna take the Red Cat or the Exceed truck to, a top level truck.
Right.
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 The Bully, you can probably get it close, but it still has some pretty big design issues.
Right.
It's a good truck, but you're going to spend a lot of money fixing the weak links in it, right?
Yeah.
I think if you want a bulletproof truck at the end of the day.
Yep.
Then there's the deluxe one. And I think because of that, that's kind of what hurts the pro trucks a lot. It's a big cost of entry.
Yeah, and it always was, though. Even back in the day, it was always there was never a time when it wasn't a problem. Even the XR10, like when it came out as a truck. Do you remember when the XR10 went on sale for like $99?
Maybe.
I think I bought like 2 or 3 at the time. They were blowing them out. So it was like, okay. But even when you bought that truck then, it was just like, okay, you had to change out all the machined gears. You had to do knuckles and C-hubs, gear cases and motor plates to change the bearings to something. So really, like you said, you end up with just the shafts at times and the plastic case. And then...
Though, the big thing with that is there was a clear upgrade path.
Yeah, you could still buy an upgrade, which was...
You could buy it stock, you could run it a little bit, and then, upgrade one thing, and then run it a little bit, upgrade one thing.
Yeah. And then you could finally jump into a chassis and link sets and everything else.
Exactly. And I think that's a big draw with the scale trucks, besides the fact that people could make them look like what they own, you know what I mean, or what they wish. Besides that, it's, you can go buy a truck for $300.
Yep.
Drive it for, 6 months.
Right.
Put a little bit, you do your series with, your budget build off thing, just put a little bit each time. Like, you look at my Class 2 truck, it's everything that's on that truck could have been built in stages. So it's just kind of
right. And it's the cost of everything in your Class 2 truck, probably not that much different than a pro truck in total if you were to add everything up. What's that?
I think at the end of the day, my truck's probably cheaper than my Class 2. But
that's
my pro cheaper than my Class 1.
No kidding.
Yeah, definitely.
There's something to be said for it. So it's like a lot of things. It's an education issue. People have to know. They have to make a good decision, because a lot of people don't make the right. I'm not saying right or wrong. They don't make a decision that maybe sets them up for where they would like to go. Yeah,
but I think it's hard because of that. Like I said, it's really pro is something that's so different. Even someone that's experienced with scale trucks, the pro trucks are something that's so different that it ends up being you know what I mean? There's a high cost of entry into it just to find out if you like it or not. So
yeah.
There's no way to you know what I mean? Say I just drove pro trucks and I want to figure out if I like scalers. I can go buy, a $300 truck and try it. There's no way to do that with a pro.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a great point.
Yeah, that's kind of.
So, yeah, who knows if there's any way to really, any way to get around that at this point, but it's.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm raising the putting it in the spotlight a little bit more and showing people what they are. Because if you scale trucks now keep going more and more towards that performance, it's just like, well,
Yep.
if you enjoy that, let me tell you.
I saw a bodiless scale truck yesterday.
What? Oh, in SCX24 world, that's all over.
No, in the like the LCG group, right? In one of those LCG
Yeah,
groups.
LCG and cheater rigs one.
Yeah, there was a scale truck with a bodiless cab bolted to it.
I lose my mind a little bit in that group anyway. I don't really respond but I'm in there, and I just
I try not to post. I try not to post most places unless I'm talking about my red cats. But other than that,
yeah. So, man, that's I've been excited again just thinking about all of it for a little bit, and it's none of this made any of that go away. So I'll look around and start doing some shopping again, I suppose. Start doing some thinking. So
flip some trucks.
Yeah, exactly. I'm just gonna go pick some stuff up and twist the axles and see if I like it or not. But
yeah.
All right. Well, we'll plan on this again for sure. So definitely get Matt on, and good stuff. Appreciate it, Nabil.
Yep.
And
talk to you soon.
We will talk to you soon for sure. Thanks, man.
Bye, everyone.
Oh, I'm going to switch to this for just a second. I know that live videos oftentimes don't have the introduction. You pop in, you don't able to get in and totally understand 100% what we were talking about. But if you're still here now, that was Nabil. If you watch the Scale Nats videos the last couple of years, 21, I really filmed like all of the finals, and he was in every single one of those. Won one of the classes, came in second in the other two, and then in the pro side, or the other non-scale side, he's done well forever, and that's where I've met him. I knew him for 12 or more years now. He was competing. The first event we were both at together would have been nationals in 2008, so that's 14 years. I don't know if I met him there or not. It was a long time ago, and I've slept since then, as they say. So with that, though, it was a great live stream. I had a really good time. We'll definitely have him on again as the event gets closer, and when Matt can be here as well to help balance out my crawling nerd side with someone who is less in that. But I appreciate it, guys. Thanks for everybody who joined. Thanks for everybody who donated. Blind Guy RC, Pete Berg, Tom Havel, Perry G, Joe Zaniga, Tom Havel, and Squints Palladorus. So, again, thanks for joining, and we'll see you Friday night live stream and whatever else is coming on. Flip that truck again probably on Monday. Scale news, so on, so forth, etc. Anybody give $2,000 tonight? Yeah, anyone give that so I can buy a pro truck? No, that's a joke from last Friday. So hope you guys enjoyed it, and as Matt always says, love you, bye.